Welcome back to B&B Spoilers channel. Today, we will dig into the shocking fallout of Luna Nozawa's death, the sinister text messages rocking Los Angeles, and Dylan's game-changing confession that could flip the entire investigation upside down. This breakdown leans into dark, speculative angles and detailed theory building, perfect for viewers who crave deep, creative expansions on their favorite soap storylines. Luna's death aftermath. In the days following Luna's fatal hit and run, Los Angeles feels less like a glamorous fashion capital and more like a crime scene wrapped in designer fabric, with every headline screaming her name and turning her into a macabre legend rather than just another tragic statistic. The press has decided that Luna's story sells, so they hound Forrester Creations' reception desk, swamp Bill Spencer's assistants with non-stop calls, and stalk every public corridor in the building, desperate for a quote, a slip-up, or a single emotional reaction they can twist into the next viral scandal. The more Forrester and Spencer try to control the narrative, the more the media claim there is something darker being hidden, feeding a vicious cycle in which the company's attempt at damage control only fuels new conspiracy theories about who is really behind the wheel the night Luna died. Behind the glossy doors of Forrester Creations, the fallout is far from just professional, because Luna was not some anonymous victim. She was a former intern whose ambition, schemes, and obsessions left rubble in nearly every office and relationship she touched. Every intern file is now being reviewed. HR is in full crisis mode, and longtime employees are being quietly questioned about what they saw, what they suspected, and what they chose to ignore when Luna's behavior first started to spiral. There is an unspoken guilt hanging in the air. If someone had reported her earlier, protected the people she targeted, or refused to overlook the red flags in the name of creativity and family loyalty, would Luna still be alive? Or would her reign of terror simply have ended in prison instead of on the pavement? To contain the explosion, Forrester Creations brings in an aggressive outside PR firm that specializes in scandals involving powerful families. And their first move is to separate Luna, the unstable individual, from Forrester, the reputable brand. They encourage the Forresters to lean into the idea that Luna acted alone, that her extreme choices had nothing to do with company culture, and that the family itself has been victimized by her crimes and now by the sensationalism of the press. Meanwhile, those same PR strategists quietly track social media chatter, fan forums, and influencer commentary, assembling a map of who the public currently believes is guilty. And they quickly realize something alarming. Suspicion is no longer limited to some faceless hit-and-run driver. It is creeping toward very specific names inside the Forrester and Spencer orbit. The disturbing text messages. While executives battle headlines in boardrooms, a much more intimate horror plays out onto different phones. First Electra Forrester, then Katie Logan begin receiving chilling text messages from someone claiming to be Luna's killer. Electra's first message arrives in the middle of a quiet moment, instantly shattering any illusion that she can grieve privately or move on, because the sender not only admits to killing Luna, but also hints at knowing private details about Electra's recent conversations, as if they had been listening in from the shadows. The text is not just a confession, it is taunting, personal, and laced with a twisted sense of satisfaction, forcing Electra to question everyone around her, from colleagues to family members, and to replay every interaction from the night of Luna's death, searching for a clue she might have missed. When Katie receives a nearly identical message, the situation escalates from unnerving to terrifying because it proves the texter is targeting specific women connected to Luna's downfall, not just spraying random threats for attention. Katie, who has weathered more scandals and heartbreaks than most people could survive, recognizes the pattern of psychological warfare. The sender wants them nervous, wants them divided, and most of all wants them doubting their own memories and instincts about what really happened. Instead of revealing straightforward facts that could solve the crime, the messages drip out in vague, ominous phrases, each one crafted to stir guilt, fear, and paranoia rather than clarity. suggesting the texter's true agenda might be more about control and revenge than justice or confession. As the texts continue, both women notice disturbing timing. Messages ping right after private arguments, hushed hallway conversations, or emotional family moments, as though the killer is physically nearby or has someone on the inside feeding them real-time information. That realization forces Katie and Elektra into a dangerous dilemma. Do they go public with the messages and risk turning themselves into the story, or do they keep quiet, investigate in secret, and risk playing directly into the killer's hands? The wrong move could either blow up the entire PR strategy Forrester just paid for, or worse, paint a target on their backs, turning two already shaken women into the centerpiece of the next twisted chapter in this saga. Remy Price in the crosshairs. In the middle of this chaos sits Remy Price, a young man with his own complicated history with Luna and a temperament that makes him an easy scapegoat for anyone searching for a convenient villain. Remy appears to be following the story almost obsessively through the outrageous headlines and social media theories, many of which now paint Luna as either a misunderstood victim or a deranged mastermind, and him as the unstable ex who would have every reason to be glad she is gone, because he was not at the scene and has no first-hand knowledge of the crash. Any conclusion he reaches is built entirely on rumor and half-truth. Yet that may be enough to convince him that Elektra and Katie played a bigger part in Luna's fate than they are admitting. From the outside, it is easy to imagine Remy as the mystery texter, hiding behind anonymous messages to punish the women he blames for the tragedy, even if he has wildly misinterpreted their actual roles. His emotional connection to Luna, coupled with his anger at how her story is being spun in the press, could drive him to seek his own twisted form of balance, pushing guilt and fear back onto those he feels have escaped real consequences. However, the very obviousness of Remy as a suspect raises a red flag. Soaps rarely make the most obvious person the true culprit, especially this early in the game, which suggests that if Remy is involved at all, he might be a pawn being manipulated by someone far colder and more calculating. At the same time, Remy's growing obsession could still be dangerous even if he is not the one sending the texts, because emotional instability mixed with incomplete information is a volatile cocktail. If he starts confronting people at Forrester, showing up unannounced, or latching onto conspiracy theories circulating online, he could unintentionally interfere with the real investigation and make himself a magnet for suspicion. This puts him in a tragic position. He might be trying to protect Luna's memory or finally stand up for himself. Yet every step he takes risks pulling him deeper into a narrative where he becomes the perfect fall guy for someone else's deadly secret. Dylan's return and confession. Into this already boiling pot walks Dylan, Hayes Forrester Finnegan's art teacher, whose connection to Luna goes far beyond polite small talk and harmless classroom projects. Fans remember that Luna once locked Dylan in a closet while she tormented Steffi Forrester Finnegan, an act that turned Dylan from a friendly face into a traumatized witness to just how cruel and unhinged Luna could become when she felt threatened. That experience left Dylan with unresolved fear, anger, and perhaps a thirst for justice that the legal system never delivered. Since Luna continued to roam around the Forrester orbit, causing chaos long after the incident was quietly buried and minimized by those who wanted to protect the family's image. When Dylan walks into Forrester Creations in the upcoming episode, it is not as a guest or a casual visitor. It is with a purpose, a determined look, and a confession that promises to reframe everything the audience thinks it knows about the night Luna died. The big question is what kind of confession this will be. Is Dylan about to admit to being behind the wheel, reveal that someone coerced her into staying silent, or expose an entirely new piece of the puzzle, such as seeing Luna struggle with someone else just moments before the fatal impact? The fact that Dylan did not immediately go to the police suggests that whatever she has been hiding is not simple guilt, but something tangled in fear, leverage, or loyalty, possibly involving a powerful figure who could destroy her life if she speaks the wrong name. There is also the unnerving possibility that Dylan's confession will not end the mystery, but explode it further, revealing that Luna was being stalked, threatened, or blackmailed long before the crash, and that the hit and run was only the final move in a larger, more deliberate game. If Dylan admits to following Luna that night, overhearing incriminating conversations, or witnessing a confrontation involving someone close to the Forrester or Spencer families, her testimony could tie the threatening texts, the PR panic, and the suspicious media leaks together into one massive, carefully orchestrated cover-up. Whatever Dylan is about to reveal, it guarantees one thing: Luna's story is far from over, and the list of potential killers is about to get longer, more personal, and much more dangerous for everyone in her orbit. Next, we will dig deep into the chaos surrounding Miss Dylan, Luna Nozawa, and the wild hit-and-run confession that has turned the bold and the beautiful upside down. Dylan's text that blew everything up. Instead of a dramatic courtroom breakdown or a tearful confession in front of the Forresters, this story begins with a cold, almost clinical text message from Miss Dylan to Electra Forrester. A few words on a phone screen confessing that she was behind the wheel of the car that struck Luna during the prison manhunt, detonating a bomb in Electra's life and in the fanbase at the same time. Electra, who only knew Dylan as Hayes' gentle art teacher and a calm presence around kids, suddenly had to process that this same woman might be the last person to see her volatile cousin alive, which instantly raised questions about motive, timing, and whether Dylan was reaching out for help, absolution, or something more manipulative. When Dylan later walks into Forrester Creations to explain herself, she paints a picture of a fog-choked night, flashing police lights, sirens, and a split-second impact that she claims she barely understood, while Electra studies her like a stranger, trying to decide if this is a broken woman reliving a nightmare or a skilled liar rehearsing a story. The nightmare Luna left behind. To understand why this confession feels so loaded, viewers have to go back to the summer, when Luna infiltrated Dylan's art program under the sunny alias Miss Sunshine and then shattered that innocent image with one of the darkest hostage situations the show has ever played out. Luna didn't just threaten Dylan, she invaded her workspace full of children, pointed a gun at her, bound her, gagged her, and abandoned her in suffocating darkness for days while using her as bait in a twisted scheme to pull Steffi into Luna's web, leaving Dylan with deep psychological scars, panic triggers, and a lingering terror that would make any encounter with Luna feel like reliving the same horror on a loop. In that context, fans are asking if it is even possible for Dylan to see Luna on the road and react like a calm, rational driver, or whether every glimpse of Luna's face in that fog would have felt like a jump scare from a past trauma, priming her body to freeze, flinch, or make catastrophic mistakes before logic could even catch up. Is Luna really gone for good? The official version of events, delivered by Deputy Chief Baker at the Spencer Mansion, claims that Luna died while trying to escape custody, hit by a vehicle in the chaos. But the show pointedly withheld all the usual soap confirmations: no hospital scenes, no grief-stricken goodbyes at a bedside, no morgue identification, not even a quick shot of a covered body. Longtime viewers immediately recognized the pattern. This is the same universe where Finn, Taylor, Lee, and especially Sheila have all died only to reappear later, meaning an off-screen demise for someone as high impact as Luna practically screams placeholder explanation rather than permanent exit, especially when she's played by a daytime Emmy-winning actress whose presence gave the show a major boost in visibility and representation. The more fans think about it, the more plausible it seems that Luna is either being hidden, medically stabilized in secret, or even moved off the grid by someone with the resources and ruthlessness to use her as leverage later, turning Dylan's confession into just one piece of a much larger puzzle that nobody on screen fully understands yet. Dylan's choices after the crash. Even if viewers accept Dylan's version that Luna appeared out of nowhere in the fog and the collision itself was unavoidable, the real moral and legal questions start the moment after impact, because Dylan still had a choice: stop the car, call for emergency help, and wait for the authorities, or keep driving and convince herself that nothing could be done. Her delay in coming forward, and especially the fact that her first detailed confession was a private text to Electra instead of a direct statement to the police, makes it easy for critics to label this as a textbook hit-and-run with emotional excuses layered on top, while her supporters argue that someone with Dylan's trauma history could easily dissociate, go numb, or not fully register what had happened until the adrenaline wore off days later. On top of that, another faction of fans is openly questioning whether Dylan is telling the full truth at all, floating theories that she might be shielding someone more powerful, Bill Spencer, after his lethal threats, leave Finnegan with a quiet chance to erase a dangerous niece, or even Remy Price stepping in to protect Electra, turning Dylan into either an accomplice, a scapegoat, or a tragic pawn in a cover-up that hasn't yet been exposed. What this twist sets up next. Dylan's confession is not just about whether she hit Luna, it is a story engine that threatens to tear through multiple families at once, putting Hayes in the middle of a scandal involving his beloved teacher, forcing Electra to pick sides between Blood and the one adult who tried to guide her cousin away from destruction, and pushing Finn and Steffi to confront the limits of forgiveness when a victimized woman becomes the alleged cause of another crime. If Luna turns out to be alive, the fallout could be even more explosive. A courtroom showdown where Dylan's trauma, Luna's reign of terror, and the ethics of self-preservation collide. A revenge plot where Luna weaponizes Dylan's confession to reclaim power. Or a twisted alliance in which they are both forced to confront a third party who actually engineered the crash or faked Luna's death for personal gain. This kind of layered, trauma-driven, morally messy storyline mirrors the type of expanded, highly detailed breakdowns you usually like to turn into long-form YouTube scripts and translated articles, with fresh angles, invented connective tissue, and deeper psychological analysis built around the show's core beats.